if your body needs it, man, roll with it, lean into it, take
Yeah.
the nap, take the win, take the nap. But man, if you're wiped out, if you're hungry, eat. If you're tired, take a nap. It's okay. Rest is not the enemy. It's okay, everybody. It's all right. It's good.
Most of us have been taught to push through, to keep going, to ignore what our body is trying to tell us. But what happens when life forces you to listen? Sometimes life changes before you even know who you are. You wake up one day carrying something invisible. Maybe it's grief, maybe it's exhaustion, maybe it's struggle nobody else can see. And from the outside, everything looks fine. So you keep going. You push harder. You tell yourself you'll rest later until your body or your life ask you a different question. What if strength isn't about carrying more? What if it's about learning how to live anyway? Get ready to reclaim your life, discover inspiring stories, practical tools, and the path to true happiness. This is Reclaim Your Life with Irina. Let's begin the journey. Jeff, I'm really honored to have you here. Your story is a powerful reminder that what we carry isn't always visible, yet it shapes everything about how we live and how we show up. I'm excited for this conversation because your journey brings real perspective on resilience, identity, and what it actually means to live a meaningful life, even when it doesn't look perfect. Welcome, Jeff. A pleasure to
Thank
have
you.
you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate you inviting me to come.
Thank you. Was there a moment in your life where everything shifted, not just externally, but in how you saw yourself, and you realized this isn't the story I thought I was living?
Great question. All I can think of is when I was a kid, when when you've been through the amount of surgeries I've been through, when you've been through the amount of crazy that I've lived with, starting at 2 weeks old with my first emergency brain surgery, you would think that there would be a lot of there would be kind of points throughout life, right? The one that I remember though is when I was a kid. I don't even remember the exact day or the exact words that were used, but I remember there was something instilled in me when I was a kid from my parents that was great. Like they could have gone two very different directions, right? Like I've had 7 brain surgeries to date. I've had 15 surgeries overall. It's a crazy story, right? So they could have, as a kid, said, you got to be careful, man. Let's wrap you in bubble wrap. Let's get you a helmet. Let's put you in a bubble. Let's not let you go outside and play, or God forbid you bang your head on something. Oh my gosh, let's protect you at all costs. No, 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 no. No, that's not what they did. They said, look, you've had a few surgeries. You might have to have some more. You're a kid. Go be a kid. Don't play football, right? Don't play soccer. Don't bang your head against things, but be smart, but go be a kid, for crying out loud, and live life. And so as a result, I was a skateboarder as a kid. I broke my arm skateboarding. I ran into stuff on my bike. I mean, I was a crazy kid. I've been snowboarding for 30 years. I love doing stuff, it's great. You just got to be smart, I didn't play football. I didn't play soccer. I didn't play any of that. I was more of a band kid, choir kid. I did that kind of stuff. So I did do some of that. I was pretty smart there. But yeah, I don't think there was any real. I think that if there was a turning point, that was probably the one that was like, look, everything's cool. Just be smart. Go live. Go be a kid.
Awesome. So beyond what happened, but go be a kid. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
You host Invisible Condition. For someone listening who looks fine on the outside, but feels like they're carrying something heavy internally, what do you wish more people understood about that kind of struggle?
Man, there's so many answers to that question. But yeah, the main thing I think is just be compassionate. I mean, you don't have to know a lot about whatever condition somebody's living with. Like, honestly, you don't have to be versed in anything. Somebody could be living with traumatic brain injuries or schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder or fibromyalgia, or, there's so many conditions that you can't see from the outside that people are living with every single day. You don't have to have firsthand knowledge of what they're going through to be compassionate. Just be compassionate, be cool, be smart about how you talk to them. Sometimes you don't have to talk to them. If they're having a rough day, sometimes all they want is somebody to sit with them and chill and just shut up and sit with them. One of the brain surgeries I've had 4 brain surgeries between 2014 and 2021 to address, issues with the condition I was born with. And the first one of those was in 2014. And my wife, she didn't know what to do. And so she just started calling friends. This speaks to the compassion part, that she started calling people because everybody says, look, if you need anything, call me, right? Everybody says that. There was one person that said, where are you? Which hospital? I'm on my way. And that made all the difference. So her name's Pauline. She's amazing. We still hang out with her all the time to this day. She was the only one that said, where are you? I'm coming. I'm on my way. I'm going to come sit with you. And she just sat with her. She just sat with my wife, didn't say anything, just sat with her. And so that's probably the biggest thing that most people don't understand is sometimes they just need somebody to be there.
Yeah, we don't know
Yeah.
what people are carrying,
Right.
and we can not make assumptions, but being kind and being compassionate, just like you said, is the best we can do. And sometimes it's not even that much. Just like you say, just be there, just sit with them. And you don't
Exactly.
even have to do anything, just be present. Be
That's right.
present. You've been through more than most people physically. Did you ever reach a point where being strong actually started working against you?
Being strong worked against me. Oh, well, sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I've never been asked that question before. That's a great question. Yeah. So yeah, 4 brain surgeries in the last 12 between 2014 and 2021. 2 of them were right back to back in 2014, and I remember, and then there was another one in 2018 and another one in 2020. And the recovery from those were very different for all 4 of them. And so recovery from brain surgery can be done well, and it can be done poorly. So, you know, the last surgery I had before 2013, 2014 was in 1995. It was long time ago. I was a kid. Everything was, you're basically made of rubber when you're a kid. You bounce back a lot easier, right? So I didn't know what to expect. And so when I had these more recent brain surgeries, it was, I tried to pick up where I left off and just keep going like I did when I was a kid. And that didn't work very well. My body forced me to slow down. And then the next brain surgery, a few years later, I learned from that and said, okay, we got to chill. You got to relax. You got to take it slow. You got to let your body heal. You got to let your body do what it's going to do in the timing that it needs to do it. So it's a learning curve, man. It's a learning curve with any condition, especially something that requires surgery. You got to be patient and just wait and see what happens. Don't rush it. So that's probably the lesson I had to learn was don't rush. Don't rush. You got to just relax. And thankfully I was working with a person. I was a contractor with a company for 12 turned out to be about a 12-year stretch that I was a contractor with this amazing company. And the reason I was wanting to rush is because I loved working for them, and I wanted to get back to work. But he's like, no, 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 no. I'd rather have you get back to work when you're ready than get back to work quickly and be in trouble, like hurt yourself more or whatever. So yeah, it's just lessons everywhere.
Listening to your body, I
That's
think
for
it's
sure. Yeah.
important. And yeah, I
If you
go.
don't listen when it talks to you quietly, it will scream at you and force you to listen at some point. So yeah, for sure.
When things felt overwhelming or uncertain, what actually helped you move forward, not in theory, but in real life?
When things felt overwhelming, you know, the thing that moved me forward was probably, what helped me stay sane was my faith. I think that's what helped me move forward was my faith. I'm a Jesus follower. I'm a Christian. And so prayer, and prayer going into surgery, prayer when we didn't understand what was going on, prayer when we wished it would go faster. God knows how all this is going to turn out. He's already seen the end of the story. So, we would just pray, and say, well, I don't know what's going on, but I know you've got this. And so help me be patient so that I can endure this without going completely crazy. I think that's the biggest one. I think that's what we did. That's the biggest difference was that's what helped us the most probably. And family. Family too, of course, for that hands-on help that we would get. In those times when you're in the dark by yourself, in pain, wondering where this is going and how long it's going to take to recover, prayer is probably the biggest thing.
Was there any other tools that helped you along the way?
I mean, yeah, physically. I mean, 4 brain surgeries in a row, you have some physical symptoms that pop up, And so, yeah, there were some, I had a chiropractic neurologist that was enormously helpful with the brain surgeries in 2014. It was neurofeedback was an amazing help in 2014. If nobody knows what that is, you know, my info will be, attached to all this. Email me. I would love to tell you about it. In fact, I have a link that'll tell you where somebody in your area might be able to help you with it. It was phenomenal. Pressure point therapy on the vagus nerve. If nobody knows what the vagus nerve is, ask somebody. It's the biggest nerve in the body. It goes everywhere and it can affect so many things positively and negatively. If you can address that on your vagus nerve, it's a godsend. I mean, those are probably the main things. You gotta just get out there and find what works. That's what we were forced to do. The hospitals didn't have answers for us. When we would get out of surgery, so we had to go looking elsewhere. So those were what we found were the most helpful. So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Definitely. Those are great tools and can help anyone reclaim their life if they
yeah,
have been in a traumatic accident or have gone through surgeries like yourself.
yeah.
It can help as well. Thank you.
Well, and I feel like I should give some context here because I don't want people to think, well, what the heck is this guy talking about, and why has he had so many brain surgeries? You know,
Please.
and so this is very common. The condition I was born with is called hydrocephalus. It's a ridiculously common. It affects hundreds of thousands of babies every single year. And what hydrocephalus is a blockage in the brain that doesn't allow the fluid. Your brain is always producing fluid so that it can be cushioned. You're floating around in this fluid, and it's always producing some every single day. It produces about a quart a day. And so it's got to go somewhere because your skull is only so big. And so typically it drains down ventricles that are like built into your brain. It drains down your spinal column, lubricates the spinal column, and reabsorbs into the body. That's normal. That's the normal process of things. For many of us with hydrocephalus, in my story in particular, one of those ventricles, one of those drains in my brain was blocked when I was born. And so the remedy for that is to create an artificial drain, right? Which is in the form of what's called a shunt, which is very common with hydrocephalus patients. And so at 2 weeks old, they found it. And that was my first emergency brain surgery, was at 2 weeks old. And so they drilled a hole in my skull back here and inserted a little tube to draw that fluid out. And there's a shunt that's right here that pumps that fluid down a tube that's right here. And that kind of reroutes it somewhere else in the body. But those shunts fail more than just about any medical device out there. And so people with this condition are almost guaranteed to have multiple brain surgeries over their lifetime. And so I've had 3 in my childhood and 4 between 2014. And then I've had another 8 surgeries. So that's 7 brain surgeries. And then I've had another 8 surgeries, like eye surgeries, abdominal surgeries, that kind of thing, to account for all the side effects that the brain surgeries caused. And so I've been under the knife 15 times in the last 49 years. 6 of them were in the last between 2013 and 2022. It's been a little bit of a wild ride, but with all the things that we've found that have helped those symptoms from coming out of surgery, thankfully, by the grace of God, I've been able to carry on, and I've never actually had to take any regular prescription medications in my life. I've escaped a lot of crazy things. And so just to give you a little bit, just that's why we're talking about this brain surgery stuff. And by the way, this affects hundreds of thousands of babies every single year. If you have more than a few hundred friends on Facebook, you probably have somebody on your friends list that has hydrocephalus. But it is invisible. You would never know anybody has it by looking at them any more than you would have known I had it by seeing me doing this, So
Yeah. How did they discover it? Like when at 2 years old, were you not reaching certain milestones or
no, it was two
something?
weeks 2 weeks old.
2 weeks.
2
Wow.
weeks old.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
2 weeks old. They did so yeah. 2
What what
weeks old.
what happened? How did they find out?
So at birth, they do certain measurements, right? How long is the baby and how much does the baby weigh? And then one of the measurements they do is right here, right around the crown, the cranium, right here. And they do it at birth. And then they'd say, come back for your 2-week checkup. And then they do the same thing, weigh the baby, how long is the baby? And then they do this head measurement again. And that head measurement at the 2-week checkup was just the nurse or physician's assistant or whoever was doing this exam saw that that head measurement was just in their opinion was just outside the norm enough that they said, "Hey, mom and dad, look, it's probably nothing, but let's get a CAT scan. It's just outside the norm. It's just a little bigger than it should be, the measurement. Let's get a CAT scan. It's probably nothing. Let's see if anything's going on." And that CAT scan revealed the blockage in the ventricle, which led to the emergency brain surgery that ultimately saved my life at 2 weeks old and sent me down this road of multiple brain surgeries and diagnosis and all that stuff. So I wish I could find that person. I did keep in touch with my childhood neurosurgeon, the one that did the one at 2 weeks old, the one at 6 months old. His name's Dr. Hendy. I got to keep in touch with him and actually visit him after he retired and thank him and give him a hug and thank his family. And, it was amazing. It was a great bucket list moment. But my next mission is to find that person in that office that said, "Hey, maybe we should get this checked out." I don't know. So, but I haven't found him yet. But yeah, that's how they found it. So
Wow, incredible. Thank you. I love it.
yeah,
Discovering at 2 weeks old and kind of saving your life, setting it in a totally different trajectory that you are here today and doing
right.
incredible things. How has your life been despite the surgeries?
How has it been? It's been amazing. And I think that is because of the way my parents set me up. You know, they could have said, "No, no, no, you're sick," or they could have said, "Oh, you're normal, go live." So, like I was saying earlier, and so I think that is in large part why I've been able to do a lot of the things that I've been doing with, launching our nonprofit, Hydro with Hope, and launching our TV show, Invisible Condition, and being able to continue to do that and launching things that we're launching now. I mean, we're doing new things now that none of it would have been possible if I had gone down the road of, well, no, you're sick. You better just lay on the couch and wait to die. That's that's not my that's not me. I'm not doing that. Uh, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. You say life doesn't have to be perfect to be amazing. What did you have to let go of to truly believe that?
I think that's a great question. I think my wife had to let go some stuff more than I did because of the way because of the way my life had been. My entire life felt like it was an exercise in launch and adjust, launch and adjust, launch and adjust. It's like eye surgeries. Okay, great. More eye surgeries that threw off my eyes to the point I can't use them together. I can only use one eye at a time. Okay, launch and adjust. Brain surgery, launch and adjust. I've had practice at this. I've had a lot of practice at this. So I feel like stuff, I was used to the chaos. I was used to the oh, that's happening now. Okay, cool. Here we go. My wife had never experienced that. So it was so her trajectory of what she pictured for our life. I mean, my wife and I met when we were 13. We were in seventh grade band class when we met. So we've known each other. I'm 49 now. I won't tell you how old she is, but I'm 49 now. So we've known each other for, what is that, 36 years? It's a long time. She didn't know any of this was going on. And so when some of this started happening, we got married, we had 3 kids, on the career tracks, all the things, right? And then all of a sudden, surgery, 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 surgery. She's like, wow, and like, what's going on? And so she had this picture, and she speaks about this. She's an amazing speaker. We're both international speakers. We love speaking at conferences and stuff, spreading hope about all this stuff. She's incredible. She's actually a better speaker than I am. But she's amazing. But one of the stories she tells is that story, like, hey, I thought we were on this trajectory here, that we were gonna do the married thing and the kids thing and the career thing and we're gonna go on vacation once in a while and this is gonna be just normal thing. And then in 2013, normal went right out the window, and 6 surgeries later, we're still looking around going, okay, what's next? And where's the next surprise going to come from? So, I think, and I like, there's adjustment for everybody because she didn't have the history of it that I had. I think it was a little more of an adjustment she's rocking it now. I mean, it's all unpredictable, always sucks, but we handle it, I mean, what are you going to do? Not? I mean, what are you going to do? It's like, I'd rather be here than not be. I'd rather be here and go through this than not. So, Right.
I guess you gotten more comfortable with change because the
Mm,
change people are very resistant to change and they try to stay away from it. But in your case, you welcome change or you go through it. Okay, we got through what's happening next instead of being stuck there or refusing it. Let me go. And I think it's easier to live that way because the only thing constant in life is change. And the sooner we have that, the
it's
easier our
true.
life would be.
It's true. I think, when we started our nonprofit in 2022 and when we launched this TV show in April of 23, like, look, we just said, you know, this is how we're operating. It's, you know, there's verses in the Bible that talk about, God gives and God takes away, and you just, if you really trust his plan and trust that he has got you as a child of God, you've got to just trust that just everything is right here in the palm of my hand and it open, open, open. And if you do this and try to hold on to it, he's going to give and take away anyway. So if you do this, it's just going to be more painful when he takes away. And so if you do this, and this is how you operate. So that's kind of when we started the nonprofit and launched the TV show, we were doing all this stuff. We didn't have a clue what we were doing. It was so outside the norm and so outside our comfort zone. But when you operate in that, then it's kind of freeing, because you know it's going to be okay.
This conversation reminds me of one of the central ideas in my book, The Gift Inside. Sometimes the experiences we would never choose become the very experiences that transform us. If you are rebuilding, healing, or searching for meaning in a difficult season, I hope the book serves as a companion on your journey. Now let's get back to today's conversation. What is your superpower if you had to pick one?
Oh, if I could pick one, that'd be different. But I think the superpower I have
Yes.
is everybody wants to be able to fly and see through buildings and stuff. I think honestly, my superpower, I think I have two, and one of them is pretty valuable for my show, which I have developed and discovered over the years, which is being able to draw out the story. When I have people on the show, when I have people at that pre-interview, because I never let anybody come on the TV show without talking to them first, right? Got to make sure that's a good fit. So during that time, sometimes, most of the time, I have to draw out their story and help them realize that they have a story. I didn't realize I had a story. I had to get help on that too. And so, because I thought it was just normal that people had several brain surgeries. I didn't know any different. It was my story. When it's your story, you don't think of anything different. It's like, it's what it is. That's what it is. And so I think that's one of them, is being able to help people draw out the story that they don't even know is there. Sometimes they just don't know it's there, and so they don't acknowledge it, and they just think it's normal, and they don't think anybody wants to hear it, but it's amazing, and you should tell it. Everybody should tell their story. And then the other one is a little more silly, but it's come in really handy. And that is being able to always get to the right person on the phone. If you're talking to a solicitor that you don't want have them calling anymore, you need to get to the bottom of your cell phone bill and can't get the right person on the phone, or you need to talk to the person about whatever it is. If you're trying to get hold of somebody on the phone, I'm your guy. I will get them on the phone. I will make them love me on the phone call, and I will probably get you something for free on that call that they didn't even know they were going to give you. But I feel like I'm pretty good at talking to people and getting them to do what I want them to do,
That's an
on the phone
incredible
call. So yeah,
super.
it comes in pretty handy. It's not perfect all the time. Like, I still, believe me,
Yeah.
it's not a perfect science, but a lot of times it works to our favor. It's kind of cool.
Awesome. I love it. Who did you want it to be when you were growing up?
Oh, that's funny. And I don't know. When I was a kid, what the heck did I want to do when I was a kid? I'm not even sure. I mean, when I was a kid, skateboarder, I think, entered my mind. Probably pro snowboarder would have been fun. I think that probably entered my mind as I got older and got married and did all that kind of stuff. I wanted to be a cop. I thought it'd be really cool to be a cop. And I applied twice to various police departments in our town, and sheriff's department, state patrol. God said no in no uncertain terms, in the form of, the first time I applied was in 2013. He landed me he said no in the form of emergency abdominal surgery. And then in 2014, I applied again, and he said no in that instance with emergency brain surgery. So I said, okay, I'm not asking anymore. I don't want, I'm not sure what you're going to do the third time. So I'm not going to ask anymore. I'm good where I'm at. Not going to apply for any more law enforcement. But yeah, I think that's the most recent was that. I always thought it'd be really cool to do that. I mean, it's so rough out there for law enforcement right now, though. I'm really glad God said no. It's a lot less dangerous to host a TV show than it is to be a police officer. So I'm pretty excited that that's where what I'm doing. So yeah.
What is one small thing you've done that had the biggest impact in your life so far?
One small thing that's had a big impact. I think I'm not sure I can point to one specific instance, but I think it's a practice of something that I do on a regular basis. And I call it the 10-10 rule, kind of jokingly, I call it the 10-10 rule. If I'm out and about, or I don't care if I'm at the bank or if I'm at the post office or at the grocery store, at church or wherever, 10-10 rule says that if I'm within 10 feet of you for more than 10 seconds, I'm probably going to introduce myself and we're probably going to have a conversation. And I'm probably going to learn your entire life story in the first 5 minutes of you talking to me. And, uh, and that's how I roll, And so that's
When
all I
did
can
that
think
come
of
about? When did that come about? Were you always like
I
that?
don't, I don't know. My personality has always been very outgoing. I've always been a very outgoing person. I always like talking to people, so I don't know. I've just, ever since I can remember, junior high, high school, even elementary school, I can remember always liking to talking to the teachers and saying hi to the, janitor walking through the halls. And, I don't know, just always been that way. So turns out it works pretty well for you in business to be outgoing like that. So
Incredible. Awesome. What is one thing you cannot live without on your day-to-day basis? Something that you do for yourself, maybe for your mental health, your emotional health,
side of what?
outside of your 10-10 rule.
Yes. So the one thing that I have become very accustomed to and I don't know if I want to say dependent on, but it's become something that's a regular practice, and that's rest, man.
Mm.
Rest. My sleep is so crazy. My sleep schedule is so crazy that, like, during the day, I used to really get upset with myself if I fell asleep during the day sometime, sitting on the couch or sitting at the table, whatever, and all of a sudden you know, kind of, oh, and then I wake up an hour and I've been out for an hour or something, and I didn't even realize I fell asleep. I would get so mad at myself because I'm like, God, it's such a waste of time during the day. I got stuff to do. We got to accomplish things during the day, sleep is for nighttime, but that has been probably, there's a lot of people out there probably that are seeing this, that are thinking the same thing, like, crap, he totally called me on the carpet. I do the same thing. I'm so mad at myself if I fall asleep during the day. I drink coffee to stay awake all day. If your body needs it, man, roll with it, lean into it, take
Yeah.
the nap, take the win, take the nap. Set alarms if you have to, right? Set an alarm if you know you've got something coming up you don't want to miss. But man, if you're wiped out, if you're hungry, eat. If you're tired, take a nap. It's okay. So I think that's been the biggest thing that has served me very well in the last 10 or 12 years that I've learned is not the enemy.
Yes.
So yeah, taking
It
a nap
all
is okay, everybody. It's all right. It's good.
Yeah, it all goes back to listening to your body. Oftentimes
That's
we
right.
push
That's
everything
right.
down, like we gotta go, we have to do this, this, and this. But the body also
Exactly.
needs rest.
Yep. Go, go, go can be dangerous. That can, like, extreme busyness like that. Like, everybody's like, oh, my kids are in 42 activities during the week and I'm always on the go and I'm bringing them here and bringing them there. And oh my God, I'm so tired all the time. That's not a badge of honor. That's a warning sign, man. I know people, parents, especially of little kids, they're like, oh yeah, we're gymnastics and football and this and this and this and this. Man, slow down and take a breath once in a while. It's a warning sign. If you're running around all the time like that and you don't have time for anything, it's not a badge of honor. That's a warning
Mhm.
that your body's going to fight back on you at some point and it'll win. Your body will win. So take the hint,
So,
and rest, rest, rest. Yeah.
was there any book you read that you wish more people knew about that you would one recommend?
It's funny you ask that because I'm looking at them right now. There's a bookshelf up here that I have in my studio. This is the studio where I film my show here, and there's a little shelf up here on the wall, and I've got 3 books. I've only got 3 books on it. One of them I'm gonna look. So I'm not looking at. Don't worry, it's not you, it's me. I'm looking up here to look at the books. So one of them is called Something for Nothing, and it's by Brian Tracy, and then one of them is by Schultz. What's his name? Howard Schwartz. It's called The Magic of Thinking Big. I don't remember the author's name. It's written down, but I've got the spine duct taped. I've worn it out so much. I literally have duct tape on the spine. So I can't read the name. So Something for Nothing, Magic of Thinking Big. And then there's another one called The Slight Edge, which is Jeff Olson. And
Yeah.
The Slight Edge is my favorite, I think, because that one is, when you're going, if you and somebody is going like this and it looks like you're on a parallel track, one tiny little change can, send you on a totally different trajectory. It's all you need is that slight edge, and you can accomplish, so many different things. Doesn't take huge monumental change. It's just that slight edge.
Yeah.
So I love that book. That thing is so tattered and torn and worn out and highlighted and underlined. And so, yeah, I love that book.
Yes, it's my favorite as well, the slight edge.
Nice.
And I do
See?
have Magic of Thinking Big. I have
Yes.
not read the Something for Nothing yet.
Okay.
Put that on my
Well,
list.
yeah, that one, I'm trying to remember who it is that said it. It was something, the saddest day in a man's life is when he sits down and contemplates how he might get something for nothing. I think it was Abraham Lincoln or some president in the past that said that, and he quoted him in the book. It was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, there is no such thing as something for nothing. You gotta you gotta earn stuff. You gotta go do stuff. It's um, you can't just sit around and wait for it to come to you all the time. So yeah, it's a good one. Brian Tracy is the author of that one. So yeah,
Yes.
pretty
Thank you.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there
Mhm.
anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
As a TV host for the last 3 years, twice a week, we've got over 300 episodes out there. We're on all these platforms. I have learned so much during that time doing that TV show. If anybody out there is excited to get out there and share their message with people, but they feel like, I've been on these podcasts, I've been on these shows, I've done all this exposure, I've been on all these things, I've spoken on all these stages. Nothing is happening, nothing is converting. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I have created a resource for that. It's called Media Impact Boot Camp. It's a 4-week boot camp, an hour a week on Zoom with me in a group format. There's an individual format as well. It's just more expensive. So the group format, we go for 4 weeks and we cover all that stuff. Like if you're like, how come, this happens or that happens? Like we cover like lighting and sound and what should you wear? What should your background look like? Should you have a good camera that doesn't go blurry all the freaking time? And so people that want to do better on those appearances, come join us. It's very inexpensive. We're starting another one here in a couple of weeks. We continually start these 4-week courses. So if you miss one, I'll be starting another one soon. So anybody that wants to do better on that, I'd love to hear from you um, and you'll have access to my email and every piece of information you'd ever want to know to get a hold of me. So there's no excuses. Reach out and we'll get you in touch.
Awesome. Thank you. If people would love to connect and learn more about you, where would they go?
I would say go to the best thing, honestly, is just to email me and you have my email, or if you don't, I'll make sure you have the right one, but jeff@jcpearsongroup.com. And don't worry about spelling and all that stuff. I'm sure that we'll have it in the info and all that stuff, but that email is probably the best, is jeff@jcpearsongroup.com. That is my kind of my office email. I do have one that's for the TV show that's invisible condition focused, an email, but that one gets so much email related to the show. It's almost hard to navigate. This one's better. So yeah, send me an email there. And just, if you have questions, I am happy to, do a discovery call with you. I'll send you my calendar link and we can jump on a call. You could ask me questions, whatever. If you want to be a guest on the show, if you know somebody that would be an amazing advertiser for the show or sponsor, anything you want to talk about, that would be the place to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I'm proud of you, like I call it, given how many surgeries you've had and all the amazing things you were able to create and keep on
Thank you.
going, because I believe we're only one decision away from reclaiming a life. And thank you. Thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be here. I appreciate you having me on, and yeah, thank you. Keep up the good work. You're doing awesome.
You too. Thank you for joining us for this meaningful conversation. If Jeff's story reminded you that your challenges do not define your future, please share this episode with someone who may need that encouragement today. And remember, no matter what chapter you're in, you're only one decision away from reclaiming your life. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep moving forward.